Hi, I'm Lizzie Balestia from Going Coastal Blue, and I'm a Blue Health Coach. I'm delighted to be joining you for this year's World Ocean Day for Schools. And we're going to be diving into our blue minds, exploring exactly why spending time around the ocean is quite so good for us. Think about the last time that you went to the beach. How did you feel? I'm guessing that you probably felt pretty good. And it's not much of a surprise that when we spend time around water, it's actually good for our health. So spending time near the sea is good for our minds. So it impacts upon our senses, and we meet the world through our senses in a very, very different way when we're at the coast. It impacts upon our mood. So depending on how we're experiencing the world around us, our mood changes. We might be in a good mood or we might be in a less good mood. We're going to explore exactly what the ocean does for our mood. And it impacts upon our behavior. So depending on our mood makes a difference how we then show up in the world for ourselves and with one another. So let's think about your connection with nature. How connected with nature or how connected with the ocean do you feel? Do you feel perhaps that you and the ocean are pretty separate? You might go to visit the ocean occasionally, but it might not really factor in your life every day, or you might not think it does, although every time you take a sip of water, that water that's flowing through you has come from our ocean planet. Perhaps you think about you and the ocean as interconnected in some way, shape or form. So there's a relationship between you and the ocean and you kind of overlap. Or maybe you spend so much time around the sea that you feel that you and the ocean are one and the same thing. Now, why is this a useful question? Well, depending how connected with the ocean we feel is likely to impact upon what we then do about protecting that space. And there's a famous explorer called Jacques Cousteau who has a famous phrase which said, "People protect what they love." So my intention from joining you for World Ocean Day for Schools is that you will grow to love the ocean even more, spend more time around it, and therefore look after it. So let's start. The ocean impacts upon our senses, and we meet the world through our senses. If you think about a busy city environment that you might spend much of your time in, it's quite shocking on the senses. It takes quite a lot of our attention. So there's lots of movement, there's possibly lots of people, there might be lots of vehicles, there's lots of colour, there's lots of shapes. Our attention is almost bombarded with information, and it can take quite a lot to focus on being creative. Whereas when we're in a coastal environment, our attention is a little bit more serene. If you look at the visual scape of a seascape, it's easier on the eye. We don't have to concentrate so much on what's going on. Although at the same time, spending time around the ocean enables us to be really present because the environment is changing moment to moment. But it's a different level of attention. It's kind of a soft fascination, if you like, and our attention is restored. And I've put here ART, that stands for Attention Restoration Theory. You think about the busy world that we spend our lives within, and spending time at the ocean actually restores us and allows us to get more creative, quietening our busy minds. When we watch waves, we can go into soft fascination, observing the changing shapes and colours, but it's not difficult on the eye in the same way as observing a computer screen might be. The soundscape, think about the soundscape at the beach. So I've got a soundscape to play you for a moment. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for 30 seconds and just explore what the soundscape of a beach does for you or for your mood and your senses. Have a listen. Perhaps if you closed your eyes and you did listen to those rolling waves and those moving pebbles, you envisaged yourself at the beach. And the chances are, if you did that, if you fully immersed yourself in listening to that sound, chances are that your body and your energy will have changed. It's an easier sound to listen to than these digital sounds that we spend a lot of time around. So our sight and our sound works in a different way at the beach. Let's think about sensation at the beach. At the beach, we're encouraged to play, we're encouraged to touch. So we might go digging in the sand, or we might feel the textures of rocks. We might get in the water and feel the sensation of the cold water on our skin. The smell of salt air is different. And we have memories of previous holidays, perhaps. So our smells and our tastes are bringing to mind positive experiences. So our sensations are different at the beach. We even move more fluidly at the beach. You think about your physicality, think about how you move when you're walking on concrete, for example, versus how you move when you're walking on sand. Now, these systems of the body are known as the vestibular system, which relates to balance and gravity, and proprioception, which relates to how we hold our limbs. Now, this all relates to our mood. You think about the last time you felt in not such a great mood. The chances are your body may well have felt pretty rigid. It might have felt pretty closed. It's almost impossible to move in that way when you're in a coastal environment. The coastal environment encourages us to flow. So our body experiences the world in a different way, which means that our mood shifts into a more resourceful space. So let's think about mood. The three easy ways to think about mood are red mind, grey mind, and blue mind. So what do these mean? What do we mean by mood even? Mood relates to how much energy we have. So whether we are energized highly, perhaps highly excited, or whether we have a lower energy level. So perhaps we're calm. But it also can have a positive or a less positive skew. So not only do we think about energy when we think about mood, we also think about whether we are in a positive or a less positive space. And we all dance around all of these emotions from time to time. And the coast is really, really helpful at bringing us to a blue mind state. So let's compare a few of these moods. Red mind. Red mind is high energy, but not such a good place. So think for yourself, what sorts of emotions sit in that place? Perhaps anger. Perhaps we get frustrated and annoyed. Perhaps we're not really listening because we're distracted. It's high energy and it's not such a helpful space to be in. So we don't want to spend a lot of time in red mind. How about grey mind? Grey mind is low energy, but not such a good place. Let's think about those times that we're like, we've got no energy, we're not interested, perhaps we're bored, perhaps we maybe feel a little bit overwhelmed. And all of us do visit these spaces from time to time. Now, blue mind's something quite different. Blue mind can sit in a high energy space or a low energy space. So think about the activities that you do at the coast. Maybe you like to go surfing, and that's quite a high energy sport. It takes a lot of effort and energy to paddle out for a wave. And you feel stoked and you feel excited and exhilarated. And that's got high energy, but it's also positive and what we call resourceful. Maybe your blue mind is sitting on the beach and watching the wildlife, or looking at the waves glistening, the light reflecting off the waves. Now that might create a sense of calm. It might give you the sense of reflecting and meditating, if you like. All of these are blue mind states, and time at the coast can provoke these emotions within us. And our mood is really, really important when it comes to driving our behavior. So happy chemistry, a bit of schoolwork here. Now you don't need to learn all of these names, but it's been proven that time spent around water brings chemicals within our body that give us bliss and joy. So we feel great when we're around the beach. Perhaps we have a sense of achievement when we learn a new skill, and that might be surfing, or that might be free diving maybe, or snorkeling or scuba. Maybe we like going out on boats and we've learned to sail, but that sense of achievement is really boosting for us. It brings chemicals around bonding because we tend to play and communicate with other people when we're at the beach. So we feel part of a community. Endorphins are pain killing. So actually, if you've got achy joints, perhaps the endorphins would be a really good thing. Anti-anxiety. So anxiety is feeling a little bit wound up, a little bit agitated, frustrated, if you like. So the neurochemicals in our body of spending time around the coast actually take away that anxiety, take away fear. Confidence and purpose. We feel more confident simply from spending time at the beach. And we're able to take a few more risks, boosting our energy through adrenaline. So simply spending time around the ocean brings this happy chemistry to our body. But how does it do that? Because that doesn't happen by mistake. Well, one thing that changes when we're around the beach is our breathing. And our breathing has a big role to play when it comes to the chemistry within our body. When we breathe in, our heart rate goes up. And when we breathe out, our heart rate goes down. So let's think about that for a moment. Our heart rate going up and down as we breathe in and out. If we're breathing in and out in quite a random way, our heart rate is quite random. Our heart rate will not be like a beautiful wave. Our heart rate will be working very, very hard to even manage everything that our body has to do to keep us going. Whereas if we breathe blue, if we breathe in a way that is even, perhaps you could practice this at home yourself, having exactly the same amount of time for the in-breath as the out-breath. We can breathe like an ocean wave. We can breathe in and we can breathe out. And we can notice that as we do that over a period of time, our energy shifts and we become present and we feel balanced and we feel able to take on the world. So breathing changes naturally when we spend time at the coast. And by breathing in this way, we have access to these happy neurochemicals which change our mood and then change the way that we feel about the world and the way that we show up. So spending time at the coast is a pretty good thing. Another thing that spending time at the coast brings is empathy. So a sense of connection. We see marine mammals, for example. So we've got some grey seals here, which I'm really fond of. And that awakens our hearts. We feel connected to something that is bigger than ourselves. And awe and wonder to having those moments where we are mind blown by how beautiful a June flower might be, or how amazing a marine bird might be as it soars overhead, or how beautiful the light is shining through a wave. Those moments actually create empathy within us. They create a sense of connection with others and a sense of caring and compassion. So living a deep blue life is about connecting with the ocean, spending time in the ocean and really experiencing that awe and that wonder. By doing this, we have intention, we create intention around protecting what we love. We fall in love with the ocean and therefore we want to look after it. This enables us to be paying attention. So spending time in blue space, those of us that swim in the sea, you have to be aware, you have to be mindful of what's going on around you. And I don't mean that in a city type way where your attention is scattered, but we have to be present in the here and now. And by paying attention, we can take action. And that's about community and bonding and connection. So even if perhaps the next time you go to your beach, you take part in a community beach clean, that all gives us a sense of protecting what we love. And it helps us to feel better about ourselves and our environment. So how can you get more blue mind? So blue mind is about connecting with the ocean, but there are other ways for you to connect in with your water. So urban blue, perhaps your urban blue might be a fountain in your town. Perhaps there might be a river that runs through your town. Something that's manufactured, maybe a local aquarium, or a seal sanctuary perhaps might be urban blue. Virtual blue is in the form of films and television. Music, lots of music has lyrics and songs that are about water, that bring that connection with water to us when we can't reach wild water. Art and poetry bring a virtual blueness to our lives. Maybe domestic blue, maybe actually just taking a bath or a shower, that might be your way of connecting with blue. Or perhaps just drinking plenty of water and acknowledging as you drink that water This is water, this is Blue Mind. Hydrating our brains is so important for growing our blue minds. And then we have wild blue. So your wild blue might be boating, it might be snorkeling, it might be swimming, it might be a coastal walk with your family. But there are so many different ways that we connect with Blue Mind, and we have access to all of these if we choose to take that decision. So these are activities for you to think about in order to grow your blue minds. If you want to discover more about your blue mind and you want to work more with your breathing and connection with water, please do reach out. But on this World Ocean Day for Schools site, there are so many resources available to you. Please do visit lots and lots of the resources available, go to lots of the virtual workshops. All of them will bring an element of Blue Mind to your lives. Thanks very much for listening. I hope you enjoy World Ocean Day for Schools, and I really hope that you get a chance to go out and experience some blue space today. Bye for now.